Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name's Arsh Ellahi, and I'm delighted to be here this evening to present to you with Neil Ward, the Rent to Rent, and we're going to be doing a massive Q&A session. Neil, good evening.
Hey Ash.
How you doing?
Yeah, good mate, good. Ready to rock and roll.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a lot of people online tonight, and it may be a new trend that Sundays are new webinar days.
Hmm.
Um, and I just want to make sure that we've got everyone online and they can hear us correctly. So if you can, on the bottom right hand side of your screen, you should have a panel. If you can just let us know whether you can hear me and Neil correctly, just so that we know that we've got you on board and we know that we can start progressing further. Okay, yeah, brilliant. Everyone's saying that they can hear us. Um, okay, just making sure that everyone's good. Brilliant. Right, I suppose we should get this off on the right mindset, and I'm going to completely throw this out there. Um, why don't you tell us very quickly just what are your experiences? So, are you completely new to property? Are you completely new to rent? Are you an experienced campaigner? Just so that we can get a good indication as to so that when we're going through some of the content, if there's someone that's completely new to property or rent to rent, we can strip it back to its bare bones so that we know exactly where you are. Okay, so we've got a complete newbie. Yeah, we've got a couple of complete newbies. Um, quite new with lots of training done. Okay. Uh, some people have done a course but have not done anything with it yet. Okay. Yes, very new, completely new. Right. Okay, Neil. So the general consensus is that majority of the people online are completely new to the strategy. So what I'd like to do, if
Fantastic.
possible, just um, take it back almost to its bare bones, and let's start so that everyone knows what is rent to rent, and more importantly, how they can make it work. Yes, sound
Hmm.
good?
Yeah, I think when you showed me the slides earlier, we you'd put some together, haven't you? Some
Yeah,
basic
cool.
slides on it. If you want to
Okay,
go forward, well, yeah.
brilliant.
But I know there's a few I know there's a few people online that have done a course already because I've took 5 calls already in the last 2 days saying that they've already done different trainers courses and are we doing discounts and stuff like that, but I didn't mention that to you before.
Okay, right, no worries. Yeah, we've got a few people that saying that they've done. Some are new to rent, others saying that they've done a few training. Um, okay, one person saying that they can't hear anything. I just want to make sure. Can everyone else still hear us? Um, okay, because I want to make sure that we start moving on in the right way. Okay, right. Everyone's saying that. Yeah, they can hear us nice, yeah, loud and clear. Okay, I'm not going to bang on too much about myself. And those that knows that I've been running a group of companies with my brother Akilahi, and together we're landlords and letting agents, and we've been letting property for quite a while since 1973. That all started off because my father had a small portfolio, and when I left university in the year 2000, I decided to look at it, um, and I figured out that had a lot of bad debt and a lot of voids. So I clearly decided to ramp that up where we've now got over 500 tenants, and more importantly, we've got a 100% rent collection record and a very high 98% occupancy rate. Yes, admittedly, shameless plugs. We do run workshops. We run workshops on HMOs. We also run workshops on rent to rent, the one that we'll be doing with Neil. And one of the best things that I did, I think, in 2013 has got to be that I was asked to become a columnist in the ever popular magazine YPN. And this was one of probably the best articles that I wrote, teaching people how to increase the revenue without making physical changes to the property, just by becoming slightly strategic with how you do your paperwork. Now, that's enough about me. let's figure out who Neil is. Neil, do you want to give us a brief introduction as to who you are and what you've done previously?
Yeah, will do. So I started in property in 2005 when I bought my first house. I'd watched Sarah Beanie the night before, like a lot of people, and I just went looking through the newspaper and I found a house right round the corner from me, um, two bed, small house, looked at a nice road, and I looked into it and bought my first property really, and then from there I just I've carried on buying. So that's basically my background. I started back in 2005, so 9 years now. I in 2001, straight from school, I joined the British Army. So that was really my main work as an adult. And then from there, as an entrepreneur, set up various businesses. My first two businesses completely flopped. Absolutely terrible ideas looking back on them. It's quite funny though. But I got third time lucky with a dating business, which was very, very, very successful. Especially in a market where everybody told me you're crazy, you'll never get anywhere in the dating market because people are spending billions on marketing and all the rest of it. And that's really, I think, how I became so good at marketing because I had no choice. I had to get good at it. I wrote a couple of books. One of them's still a bestseller even today. And I've got various businesses. And then I was a marketing consultant after the army. Worked all over the world really, and sales trainer. So they are my main sort of jobs, if you, as it were, from school. In terms of rent to rent, I went on a course in April, and 1st of May was my first property. So I got my first property on the 1st of May, and it was a very good property. It cash flowed very, very highly. And I haven't got that property now, actually. I flipped it on because it wasn't right for me. As we'll talk about, I completely changed my strategy. So a lot of people think, why would you just throw away £1,000 a month cash flow? And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And yeah, as you can see up on the slide, I made, I think it's just over 5k actually in the first 5 months cash flow from my rent to rents.
Okay, fantastic. Right, okay, Neil. So you're at this point. We want to know a little bit about why you've decided to join on tonight's webinar. If you could type some messages in the comments box about why you want to do rent to rent, and this is a really important part because understanding what your why is in property really gives you focus in where you can go and how you can build a business. Completely agree with that.
Definitely. I mean, this is why we put this slide in because I said, look, I don't just want to have people coming on and just randomly doing a course like you see day in, day out. I want to know why people are coming on. That's the most important thing for me. I want to know who the people are and why I'm helping them, because that's where I get my passion from. When I know what is at stake, as it were, then I can really give my full energy to help people to achieve what they need to achieve.
Okay, pretty much. Just giving you a rough indication as to why people are saying that they want to do this strategy and why they're here tonight. A lot of people saying that they want to make passive income so they can follow their dreams. Okay, we've got a potential singer online as well. Uh,
Oh,
Someone said pretty much all the reasons because they work their life away. They
yeah,
like the returns, no available cash, but wanted to get into property, passive income, cash flow without having to put in large deposits. A lot of people saying that they want to get into it because of passive income. They want to become
yeah,
their own
yeah,
boss. Just quickly going through. Happy to okay. So a lot of it is becoming from financial freedom as well. It's escaping the rat race. Okay.
yeah. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, they're really good reasons.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to lose the rat race and create a passive income from property, and without putting in a lot of money into property. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what the strategy is.
agreed.
So taking the basics of what rent to rent is, there's three people involved in the whole strategy. The first person is a landlord who owns a property. Second person is you who would like to rent the property off the landlord. And the third person is the tenant who you're going to be letting the property out to, who's going to be living in the property. Does that make perfect sense? And in simple terms, the way that rent to rent works is that you approach the landlord with your proposition that you want to rent the property off them for a certain period of time. In that period, you're going to be offering to guarantee them the rent so that they've got a form of financial, so you've got a form of financial commitment towards the property. In majority of the cases, you have to do some work to the property in order to be able to multi-let it. So for argument's sake, if you're taking, actually I'll give you that as an example in a second. So you're going to do some work to the property to let it out, and then you let the property out, hopefully for a lot more than you're paying the rent. And anything left over is considered as profit. Now, let's just use an example. And I like to
Do
use,
you want me to go through the example, Arsh?
yeah, sure, that'd be good.
Okay. So this is basically how it works. You are on the lookout for single let properties. They could be student houses or current HMOs where the owner's tired. But let's just take a really simple example of a single let property. It's on the market. It's a typical 3-4 bed, 2 reception. And the price it's on the market for is £850 per calendar month. And you see these all day long. Every road has got these sort of properties, which is why I teach to target these, because they're so simple. So next slide, Ash. Okay, so here we have a 4-bedroom, 2 reception, kitchen, bathroom property. So what you do then, if you go to the next slide, Ash, what we've done is we've converted each bedroom. So we've either refurbished it, we've added, we've just tidied it up a bit so we can get maximum rent from it. And we've also converted on the downstairs, if you look at the bottom left corner, that was originally a living room. That's now a bedroom. So what you have is 4, 8, 12, 16, £2,000 income, whereas you're paying out £850 to the landlord. Next slide, please. Okay, so 5 rooms at £400 is £2,000 income per month. The rent to the landlord is £850, and your utility bills will be around £350, give or take £30. They never really go out from £350 this size of property. So what you're left with is £800 of profit per calendar month. So that's really how easy it is. You're making £800, and all you're doing is managing a property. You're providing high quality accommodation, and you're just bridging the gap, really. It's just like what the letting agents are doing, but they tend not to like to do multiple occupancy housing. They prefer just simple single lets. So this is where you're coming in to plug a gap in the market. Okay, so this is how it works and why, what's involved with it. There's no mortgages required at all, so you don't need to find big lump sums of cash. So you can get started straight away and getting that cash flow going. No solicitors required or mortgage surveyors, which is again a high cost. Solicitors, surveyors, these things cost a lot of money. Thirdly, there's no 25% deposit required, and actually bringing that back to the mortgage. We're talking with Aki on Thursday night about that, and he's saying how difficult it is at the moment and how the market's changed a bit. Arsh, do you know any more about that? What's happening with the mortgage market?
Well, with anything, with the mortgage markets, it is becoming increasingly difficult because they want to know everything about you. They want to know not only what you're doing in property, but what you do otherwise. So if property isn't your full-time job, what is your full-time profession? They actually like landlords who have got a different job. So worst case scenario, property's not, if you're not making the money in the property, are you going to be able to subsidise the mortgage by a second income? So they are asking a lot of questions, and by all means, it's not getting any quicker to get a mortgage. So every time you go back, they ask you a question, you go back, they take 48 hours to process it, they come back with another question. And sometimes there's been scenarios in the past where I've lost deals because of that. So
Mm.
yeah, it's not an easy time. Whereas this strategy is very much a case of you meet the landlord, you build the rapport, and you start going straight away. Is that right, Neil?
Yeah, exactly. And that's my experience all the way. Right, fourth point then, very little capital required to get going. I've had people that have got going with about £500 or £600. That's really, I'd say, look at about £1,000, but you can actually get started with pretty much no money with this strategy. I know, Arsh, recently you found a house, didn't you, that was perfect inside. All you did was you went to the landlord with the management agreement. It was signed, and there we go. You just put tenants in straight away. You didn't have to do anything, did you?
No, not a single thing to it. And it
So it just proves, doesn't it, that we go on, Ash.
sorry, it cost me absolutely nothing to do that. I approached the landlord. He had the property. He knew, well, he must have known what he was going to do with the property, but he just didn't want the hassle. So we've traded off on the basis that yes, I've offered him a low rent on the basis that I'm going to be offering it. I'm going to be guaranteeing them rent for the next 7 years, and it works really well. It's a win-win situation.
Fantastic. A lot easier to generate cash flow from properties and very easy to grow into a business. Again, definitely my experience. I found it very easy to generate cash flow through this strategy, and I've found it. It's for me, it's been easier because I've set up businesses before, but we'll touch on this during training anyway on how to set up a business so that you actually know what you're doing and can place yourself more professionally. And finally, you determine the terms of the agreement. So it's not like a lot of situations where you haven't got much say in it. These are the terms. You either do the deal or you don't. With this, you actually get to sit down with the landlord. A management agreement is not a piece of paper that's set in stone where nothing can be changed. It's just what it says. It's an agreement. So you both get to set the terms of that agreement. I don't think I've had a single landlord so far that I've taken my management agreement as it is and they've signed it. They've all, we've always negotiated on little bits here and there, and we've changed little bits, and that's really what it's about. This is a relationship. It's not just like other strategies. You build a relationship here with the landlord.
Okay, right. Are these some of the properties that you've done?
Yeah, I've only put one in there, Arsh, because I just wanted to give a quick example because a lot of people are new on the webinar. So I'll just give this quick example, and then we'll carry on. So this I use this example because this isn't your typical, just walk in, grab a deal. This was a difficult one. It was a very difficult one. It's owned by a solicitor. He'd had it for 5 years. Well, it wasn't just his, it was his and his father as well, who's a doctor. But they had nothing but hassle from this property for all the time. Couldn't rent it out. When they did, it got damaged, it got trashed. Tenants ran up huge utility bills. They had bailiffs remove the meters. They had, you name it, they had it. And they had so many bad experiences with agents who just messed them around and took money from, it just went on and on. So I actually approached them, and it was actually through a referral. So I approached them, had a chat with them, and they bit my hand off really at the offer because they'd had so much hassle that it was just refreshing for them, for someone like me to come along and say, I'm really going to take care of your house. This is what I'm going to do with it. Let's get all these things sorted, and I'll get your meters reinstated for you. I'll take care of all these problems. And that was it. They were on board straight away. So if we go to the next slide. So I took this on a 3-year lease agreement with a 10% rate rise for year 4. So my background is sales, and I know the sales process. I know people. I know psychology on a deep level. So when I'm going into an interaction or a sales agreement with someone, I'm going in to win at the outset. I've already thought ahead of any objections that come up. I've got everything ready. I know how to communicate well with people. So when I went to see this landlord, he, when I was asking about this sort of term, I could see he was a bit bit nervous because he'd had hassles before and he had problems before. So I went in at a 3-year, which I said was the minimum, and he was very happy there. So I got a yes. If I went in at, say, a 7-year, I would have got a no. So it's about doing the minimum to get a yes. And what you're doing is you're taking it step by step by step by step, getting it yes, 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 yes. And eventually you'll get to the end and you've got a yes on a deal. So what I did here, I always put this in, it's a 10% rate rise for year 4, because what's going on in the back of some people's mind is, well, what happens if we've got an agreement for, say, 5 years and, rents are going to go up in this time, aren't they? So I put that in. And then at the 3-year point, if they do think to themselves, right, rents have gone up, the student market's changed in this area, it's in Coventry, student market's changed, I know I can get a little bit more money for it, and then I bump their rent up 10%, then the incentive for them to move isn't really there. They think, oh, for that extra hassle, I'm only going to get this much, so they'll stay with me. And I put other little clauses in at this year, that year, they get other little bonuses. So that's how I do it. So the rent to landlord on this house is very, very low. It's only £700 per calendar month. Got 4 bedrooms in that house. I could actually have 5 in that house, but I've chosen to have 4, purely because I did rent the 5th room. We had a little bit of issues both times, so I've just decided to keep that as a 4-bed now, and it generates a really nice cash flow. If you go to the next slide, Arsh. So the rent to the landlord is £700 every month. The utility costs are on the dot £330 every month. The refurb was very low on that because they wanted to get this rented out, so they helped me out with the costs. So it was only £1,600, and the profit per calendar month is £570. When the 5th room is rented, it's about I think it's about £850 cash flow on it. But £570, I'm happy with that. I don't want the hassle of the extra room, so I just keep it nice and simple, £570. And the break-even point on that is under 3 months. So after the first 3 months of having that property, I'm now getting the cash flow. I've made all my money back. I don't know any other investment where you can invest £1,600 and then you can make it back in 3 months and then be making £570 a month. If anyone knows an investment like that, let me know. So the cost to acquire that was only £200 because it was a referral. And I'm sure questions will come up about how I'm getting the referrals, how I'm getting this later on. So I won't go too much on that now. If you go to the next slide. Just do a couple of before and after pictures and then we'll go into the questions. So all these were images that I saw on either Rightmove or Spare Room or some of the other room rental websites. I mean, the first picture there, top left, perfect example. It was on for 200 and something pounds, and that's never going to go. I mean, look at that room. If you were a tenant, would you ever want to rent that? So I took that on, this house, and the room then I rented it. You can see it's only a small room, but obviously it meets all the regulations and room size requirements. That rents out at 375 within 24 hours. Okay, and then if we look at the third one across, again that was on the market for about 250, I think, and straight away within the first 24 hours I rented that room at £400. You can see it's a very, very basic room. I haven't done a lot to it. I've moved the furniture. I've got some new furniture in there. I've painted it. I've made it nice and tidy, and the room just went straight away. Okay, I talked about this kitchen before, but this kitchen was probably, I wouldn't say the dirtiest I've ever seen. It was very, very dirty. I mean, you see the floor's black in the top picture and not in the bottom. That was grease. And once we had that kitchen deep cleaned, now it's absolutely stunning. It looks like a brand new kitchen, it really does. And just a couple of other pictures there of refurbs that we've actually done. And that again, you've got a single room to the right there. That single room was never rented out very well by anybody, and we rented that out within 48 hours, so a little bit longer than normal. So that, I just want to give everyone a basic overview. Was that okay for everyone? Was that a good overview? Is there anything else you wanted to know before we go into the questions?
Yeah, everyone's coming in and saying, yeah, great. Okay. Don't ask this question with us about how many bedrooms to bathrooms. Right. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, yeah. Everyone's really pleased with that. Okay, right.
Fantastic.
We've had some questions. Shall we start with? I thought there'll be good questions to start with.
Yeah, and guys, we're going to split the questions between myself and Arsh. So if you just let us know who you'd like to answer the question.
Okay, fine. I mean, first question that Paul's asked is are you putting in a fire alarm system and fire doors?
I'm not personally. That's the landlord's responsibility, but we always make sure that the correct standards are done before we take on a property. If they're not, we'll speak to the landlord. We'll let them know what needs to be done, and then I mean, we've got all the tradesmen, all the contacts, and I've actually now started a home improvements business purely because everybody was coming to me day in, day out. Do you know someone for this? Do you know someone for that? And the same will happen to you as well. When you become an expert in your area at rent to rent, you'll have people calling you, texting you all the time, asking you, can you recommend this person? Can you recommend that person? So you'll probably fall into the same path naturally that I have, in that I've set up a home improvements company, and it's just an extra income stream really, because all you're doing is you're the middleman to for the tradespeople, and you solve a lot of people's problems. So if, for example, there was fire doors required, I would just have my team fit the fire doors and invoice the landlord.
Okay, brilliant. Right. Emmanuel's asked, but do you need a solicitor for the agreement?
Okay, so the agreement that I have produced, and the people that come on the training and on any of my trainings, you'll get a copy of that agreement. So you've got that. I've spent the best part of £3,000 on that agreement. It's gone through three separate solicitors. So you'll actually get a copy of that. I always recommend, even though you've got my agreement and everything else, I always recommend that you use a solicitor for each of your management agreements. And it really is just to cover you and to make sure you're happy with it. And again, like I said, sometimes the landlords, they want to make some changes. So if you're not good at how can I put it, changing legal contracts, because you have clauses 2.11, 3.7, and sometimes the clauses relate to each other within the agreement, then it's good to just use a solicitor just to change those little bits for you. And it's very low cost. The agreement, it's all been done for you. And actually, we provide you with a solicitor anyway so that you can use them. It's a very low cost to get your contract perfect.
Okay, brilliant. Right, there's to be fair, Neil, a lot of people want to ask you some questions today. Um,
Okay.
okay, so let's just have a look. Carol's asked, is it more profitable to use a single room with space or a double room with not much space?
That's like a riddle. So, is it more profitable to use a single room with plenty of space, or a double room with not much space?
Yeah, I'm slightly confused by that question if I'm completely, because a single room with space automatically would near enough make a double room. Does that
Um,
make sense?
yeah. Okay. Let me try and answer that. So, a small double, for me, I'd rent out about £400. Where a large single, I'd rent out 375. So yes, it's more profitable to put in a double bed into, let's say it's the same size room, if that's what you mean by that, same size square meters. Is it better to put in a single bed and have more space, or put in a double and have less space? It's better to put in a double and have less space, because a lot of the professionals that, if you go down this strategy and you want to go that way, they want a double bed. Usually they're between 20 and 30 years old. They'll have girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, and they'll want a double bed for when people come over. So I would recommend a double. Does that answer the question, Carol?
Okay, whilst we're going through that, we've got a fair few questions coming trickling in, so we could
Yeah.
start to flip through them. Okay, so Joanna's asked, how do you convince a letting agent to let the house to you? They always say that the landlord prefers a family, or even when they say it should be okay with the landlord, then the landlord chooses a family and not a company let.
Yes. And that's why, Joanna, I'm a bit controversial on this subject, as everyone knows. I think I'm the only rent-to-rent trainer out there that will say to you, do not go near letting agents. I don't rate going to letting agents at all, because I just think you're on the back foot. You're never going to be in the position of having control over the situation. You've always got to do what the letting agent wants to do. There might be some give and take. You might be able to come to a good arrangement with some, but most of the time you're on the back foot, really. Whereas if you're sourcing direct, every 5 hours of time you put into finding the letting agent to work with and back and forth and being messed around, 5 hours sourcing directly, you can find the landlord in that time without too much hassle. So that's I'm all about ROI, my return on investment, in particular with my time. So I'd rather put my time into going direct, building relationships with the landlords, and just having these fantastic relationships. And a lot of time, the landlords haven't just got one property. It's very rare you find that. Most of them have got a lot of properties, or at least 3 or 4. So that's just the way I prefer to do it.
Okay. Now, shall we ask the all-important question? Andy's asked, how are you accessing the landlords?
Yeah. That is a mind map in itself, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I've come up with, I've lost count how many different ways to source landlords. I'll show you a mind map in a little while as we're going through. But let me just think what best way to answer this. Let me give you a couple of examples. The best way you can source landlords directly, bar none, is letters, writing letters to the landlord. Now, not just any letter, you've got to have a good, strong letter that they're going to respond to. Again, you know my background, it's marketing, it's copywriting, all this. So my letters, when I send them out, I get a strong response rate. I wouldn't say that everyone replies to my letters, but most people will pick up the phone if they receive the letter, because sometimes the letters get lost or whatever. But if they receive that letter, they're calling me and we're having a conversation. And again, with the process, when they start asking, well, how much are you going to pay me? You don't want to answer that question over the phone. What you want to do is you want to arrange a meeting with that landlord, because the fact is you don't know what you're going to offer that landlord anyway. You need to look at the house, you need to do a survey, you need to meet them, see if they're the right sort of person to work with you. So the best way you can possibly find is walking up the road, seeing a board, like a letting agent board, and I think the lady just now was saying about they prefer to let to families and things like that. That's what the letting agents tell you, but it's not generally true in my opinion. I've been to a lot of landlords who've rented their properties to families, and when I've made them an offer of a rent to rent, they've gone for it. So it's I don't know. I'd say it's not strictly true. It all depends on your offering to them, and you've got to remember that letting agents, it's in their best interest not really to let to you. But again, this is just my opinion. It's not really in their best interest to let to you. They've got it, comfortable with the landlord. They rent the property out for them. They've got their monthly fee coming in, their first month's fee. Everything's nice and comfortable. With you, you're another person. You're another agent. You're a little bit like competition to them. So firstly, you're walking up the road. I'm getting back on track with the question. You see a letting agent board, and you write the address of that property down, and then you want to go on to land registry title search. Okay, land registry title search, and within that title search, you want to search for that property. So you'll need the house number and you'll need the postcode. It costs £3 to download the title, and what that gives you is it gives you the owner, so the landlord of that property, their home address. Because if you put a letter through that door, who do you think is going to pick it up? The letting agent. and that letter's never going to get to that landlord. So you want to write a letter direct to that landlord at their home address, strong letter, and I can give you a copy of my letter, no problem at all. Anybody that does training with me. So it goes to that landlord, they reply to your letter, you arrange a meeting, and then you make them the offer based on my 12-step sales program, and that's it. You've got your deal. It really is that. I know I'm making it sound easy, but it really is that simple once you know how.
Okay, brilliant.
I mean, we could talk all day on sourcing strategies, Arsh, couldn't we? But I just want to give you one powerful one that will get you the most response.
Okay. Ian's asked, how do you find the tired landlords and the responsibilities with regards to repairs?
Okay.
I mean, what do you want me to answer this one?
Yeah. I mean, whoever it's aimed at, I mean, go for it, Ash.
Okay. Well, Ian, there's no right or wrong question, right or wrong answer to this question, because remember what we said earlier about you determining the terms of the contract. So I've done lots of rent to rents where I'm responsible for solely all of the maintenance of the property, and I only look after the maintenance for the internal of the property. So anything to do with the external structure of the property is still the landlord's responsibility. Then I've also done other rent to rents where all the responsibility of the maintenance is still the landlord's responsibility. So it really depends on how you go and present the opportunity to the landlord and what you actually go and negotiate with them. So there's no right or wrong answer. It just depends on how good your negotiation skills are. Hope that helps. Julie's asked, the rents that you're suggesting, are these in Wolverhampton, Coventry, and the Midlands? Yeah, all the rents that we've spoken about this evening are figures that we're achieving in the Midlands. If you'd like to let us know where you are, Julie, we'll see if we can try to do examples on the webinar according to a location where you are. Just so that you know, this webinar is being recorded, and a couple of guys have asked that they've missed the beginning, and could we get a copy of the recording? I'm hoping that this recording comes out good. We tried to record it last on Thursday, but unfortunately we got a corrupted file. I think it's too much information overload. And then hopefully, if this does get recorded, we'll be happy to send out. Let's just go through some of the other questions. People are asking, and this one will be for you, Neil. How do you set it up? Have you set up the rent to rent in a company, or have you done it in your own personal name? And do you let it out on a standard single AST?
Okay. So there's two parts to that question. So I'll answer the AST one first because that's short. I rent them out on individual room-only ASTs, which are slightly different from your normal house AST. You can download one of those from the RLA website or the NLA website, so you can get a copy of that. Additionally, it needs to go into your management agreement contract that you are going to be renting out each room under individual ASTs, just so the landlord knows you're covered, everybody's happy, there's no grey area there. Okay, so that's that part. What was the first part, Ash?
Okay, sorry, I've kind of lost the question. Bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, do you lease it under your company name, or do you?
Okay, company name, yeah. It's done under a limited company for me personally. However, when I first started, I did it just as Neil Ward, basically. There was no company, there was nothing. It was just me. I went to see landlords, and they asked me, "Oh, what's your company?" I said, "I haven't got a company. I'm just a property man. I'm just a guy, managing property, really." And they said, "Oh, right, okay." And honestly, it was a little bit harder doing it that way, but I still got those first 3 deals within the first, I don't know, no time at all, 8 weeks maybe, 10 weeks. I don't even think that, through not having a limited company, not having anything. I didn't even have a business card. I had nothing at all. I still got those 3 deals quite easily. So you don't need to. However, if you're going to play with the big dogs, so I had this recently as an experience, you can't just go in as Neil Ward property manager, because they will not be interested. If one of your letters will eventually hit a big portfolio landlord. It's just the odds of statistics, the law of numbers, that it's gonna happen. So just before I carry on, can everyone hear me okay? Because I just got a pop-up message there.
Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, everyone's still saying.
Okay, great. Just got a pop-up message.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I dealt with this man, he was not interested in dealing with Neil Ward property manager. He wanted to see proper limited company. He wanted to see my accounts and everything. I mean, he had a huge portfolio, and he was a very savvy investor, so he's not just going to hand over one to me. So if you want to start, with a limited company, then it will put you in good stead. Although it won't, if you haven't got any accounts anyway, it won't really make much of a difference. So if you're going to start out, you can start out as a sole trader. Just make sure you've got the right insurances. You've got your indemnity, public liability insurance, and all of this sort of good stuff, so that you're protected, and that the landlord feels that it's safe, that you've got the right cover there.
Okay. One question that Peter's asked is that it's all to do with the landlord's mortgage. What if the landlord's mortgage won't allow for multi-let? Can I let it out
Um,
without getting the landlord
yeah.
in trouble?
Do you know what, Ash? I'm not going to go on to. I'm not going to cover mortgage questions, because when I spoke to the solicitor earlier, he just advised me not to advise, not to go into any of this sort of stuff for now. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind just very briefly just saying that the one thing that you should always do is obviously make sure that, to put it politely, you've always got to cover your backside. You've always got to make sure that you ask the question, has the landlord asked the question through their mortgage company? And providing that the landlord has, and they've provided you with proof of that, then in theory you shouldn't have any issues. The last thing that you want to do is get yourself and the landlord into trouble by just going off and doing it, and then next thing you know, you're getting a knock on the door and also letters through the post saying that you've got to retract it, because what you could have done is gone off and spent a lot of money on the property, but then no longer able to operate the strategy on it. Hopefully that helps, but all the people that you need to ask is solicitors, mortgage companies, but more importantly the landlord, because it is his property and it is his responsibility. Before he signs any documents with you, he should have had the comfort knowing that he's gone off and consulted with his mortgage company for his property, that he is allowing you to do this.
I mean, just to say one point on that, you've got to be very careful where legals are concerned, just as I am in not answering the question, because I'm not a solicitor. I don't want any comeback on me for answering wrongly. But one thing I've noticed is that when I've been looking at these properties at the minute, and they're all multi-let properties, three bed houses, and they're all being let individually. I'm pretty sure 99% of those properties have not got permission to, for the landlord to give it to a letting agent to just rent it by the room. I'm 99% sure that those landlords have not gone to their mortgage lender and said, we missed the student window, so instead of doing one AST with 4 students, we're just going to do it by the room. So, have a think on that, and then we'll go to the next question.
Okay. Some people are saying that, going back to the land registry question, is that what if the landlord has moved since? Let's just go. Hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying, you don't catch them all. It's like fishing, isn't it? You never catch them all. You just got to keep sending letters, and it's part of a big strategy. I mean, you can't just go out and use letters. That will never, it will never work long term. And if you want to do a big business of this, you've got to build up a marketing strategy which consists of different streams, so that you're doing different things all the time, testing new things, and marketing changes all the time. It's not, it's not simple. sometimes things that worked before won't work anymore. You know, can you think 10 years ago, when it comes to courses and trainings, would we be on a webinar like this? We'd be sat in a hall somewhere talking. Things change all the time. You've got to move with you know, move with the times, really.
Okay. Right. A couple of people saying we went back and we were talking about the rents that we're achieving, saying that we're in the Midlands. A couple of people saying that they're actually in London, and they're asking whether this strategy can actually be implemented successfully in London with the same amount of ease.
Okay, so there's 2 points to this. Um, One aspect is it's far easier in London. Another aspect is it's harder in London. So it's harder to find the properties because it's such a rapid and fluid market. I've got a couple of clients there I'm coaching, and they've really got to be quick, quick, quick. Otherwise, the properties are off the market. But they've got it now. You've just got, you know, you've got to get up to the right speed to move with the market, and it's fine. Now, the other thing is, you will never have an empty room in London. Honestly, it's so. I mean, I remember when I was younger and I was looking for a room in London, and I'd go on to Spare Room, or I'd go on to Gumtree, or whatever, you know, sites I was using at the time, and I'd see a room, I'd click save, and by the next day that room was gone. And it's now, even I've had people come and tell me, and when they phone me they say, you know, oh, thanks Neil, all the rooms are gone. I'm like, what do you mean they're gone? You only advertised it this morning. Yeah, they're all gone. Yeah, I had 10 emails straight away, room's gone. So that's the good thing about London. Those rooms will always go very, very fast, and they demand a higher premium as well.
Okay. Um, Hillary's asked, do you make any structural changes to make more rooms? Or do you always make sure that you take on properties that don't need any changes to produce the rooms?
I don't personally make any structural changes at all. It's not something I'm interested in doing. However, if you decided that you did want to do that and make some structural changes, you just need to make sure that there's a power of attorney contract included within your legals. Okay, that's the only thing. I think most people miss this, but my solicitor picked it up and advised me for one of our clients, actually. So you know, if you're going to add any partition walls or anything like that, I mean, we all know the famous case of the lady that got all her rent to rents taken back. So because she did that, so you just got to make sure you've got full agreement, everybody understands what's going on. And if you want to add rooms and things like that, you've got to get the landlord's permission, and really I'd work with them to do that and make sure you've got a signed agreement.
Okay. Last couple of questions before we start to move on, mate. People are asking about HMO licenses. Who's responsible?
Yeah. Simply, the landlord's responsible for that. And again, I've never had a single landlord that's not been happy to pay for it. I've helped them to apply for them, and it's really that simple. Landlord pays.
Okay, brilliant. Last two questions. First, quite a few people are saying that, are we able to get access to the management agreement and the agreements that we use without coming on the course? Unfortunately, all the agreements and all the documents that we use are specifically for people who attend our training. The reason why we do that, we also have to show you how to use them to the best of your ability, and also how to fill them in correctly so that you don't run into any legal issues. Are you happy with that, Neil?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, and this is the final question, Ben asked, apart from Spare Room, Easy Roommate, and Gumtree, where are you advertising your rooms?
That's pretty much the main portals for online. I don't use any of the others. You'll see all these other online ones advertising, but if you do what I did and you test them, you'll find that you just don't really get anything off it. You'll pay high fees and you'll just get nothing from it. So those three that you've mentioned there, perfect, spot on. They're your online channels. In terms of, there's one other online channel that we use, which is Facebook. We've done very well from Facebook because we've built a community in Facebook, and we've also created a group for professional rooms in our area, and that's going very well. We've also got in contact with other people on Facebook who have got big groups, and we've asked them, hi, this is what we're doing. We're helping young professionals to find rooms. Could you help us by posting this advert? And they've all said yes. Like I said, we've never had any voids. I think our biggest void was 1 day, which if you look at everybody else, comparing, 99.99% to 50%, 70%, 80%, it's just because we've really got our marketing tied down so tight. Now, we also do offline stuff. So, all the co-ops, Tesco's, all these other places, we've got little cards up in there, saying, I don't know exactly what it says, but something like, if you're looking for a double room in Coventry, our prices are this to this, best rooms, very clean and tidy, give us a call. And that's it. It's really simple, really. One other thing that we're going to be looking into is, we know the areas in Coventry where the working professionals live, and we know that a lot of them aren't happy with their landlords, just like every industry. So we're going to do a leafleting campaign. I don't know if this is going to work. There's something that we're going to test in January. So we're going to do a big leaflet drop targeting those tenants and get them on our database, so that once we get more rooms coming on, straight away they'll be on our waiting list and they're straight in.
Okay, right. Thanks for that, Neil. I think we've answered everyone's questions there. So what we're going to do, we're going to start moving on.
Okay.
Neil, do you want to? I'm just going to tell you about a workshop that me and Neil are both running together. It is based in Wolverhampton, and yes, it is a couple of weeks away. It's on Saturday, the 29th of November. It starts at 9 a.m. and we'll be going straight through to 5 p.m. It is $395 for the day, but don't let that put you off, because we are going to be doing a special offer for action takers. Remember, we're doing this webinar specifically because there were quite a few upset people that we didn't have the recording. So hopefully that this is going to be recorded and sent out literally tomorrow morning. When we did the webinar on Thursday, all the seats were taken up after within the first 45 minutes. However, just for tonight, we've opened up another 10 seats to make it fair for those that missed the opportunity on Thursday. Neil, do you want to tell us about what we're going to be covering on the day?
Yeah, sure. And I'll just say, with the seats, I don't really like to have big courses, because for me it completely takes away the personal aspect, where I want to teach you. I want it to feel more one-on-one than a massive group. You can't ask any questions, you can't really get anything from it. So that's why we like to keep the groups quite small. So that's the seats all sold out straight away, and then Arsh just said, look, will you just add another 10 seats? It's still small, and I said, yeah, okay, so let's do that. So that's why we've added those 10 seats. Right, so a few things that we're going to cover on the day then. How to get in front of a large amount of landlords. I mean, if you heard what I shared with you tonight, that's just a couple of strategies. Imagine if you got dozens and dozens and dozens of strategies. Do you think you'd be like a lot of other students that I talk to and call me every day and say, I've been doing this 4 months, I haven't got a deal? No, it's not. It's very unlikely. So you'll get that. How to identify and dominate your goldmine area. Like I always say to people, you're not even allowed to go home until you find your goldmine area. I don't want any excuses for people not going out and succeeding. How to create a high-end finish of your rooms for a low-cost budget, which is key. I mean, that alone, most people have said, is worth 10 times the course, because they're saving thousands of pounds from each refurb, because they're learning how to do high-end finishes, where to buy all the stuff from, how to decorate it for a low cost. Next, how to be legally compliant. This is the most important thing. I would say 40% of the calls that I get every week are people that they've done their management agreements completely wrong, they've got themselves into trouble, and can I help them get out of it? So I'll give you all the agreements, and we'll just show you how to be legally compliant so you don't get into trouble over it. Okay. And also I'll go through my exact model of how I made 5K in 5 months. I'm not saying this is that each person on the course will do the same thing. You could do more or you could do less, but I'm going to show you how I did it. It's human nature. Some people take action, some don't. But if you come on the course and you come with an open mind and you agree to take action, there's no reason why you can't repeat what I did and even make more money.
Great. Okay. And just talk us through some of the systemizations. These are some of the things that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, so this you'll get my mind maps. I mean, I've spent a lot of time creating these mind maps, a serious amount of time. So, I mean, you can see they're absolute beasts of mind maps. The marketing one alone, that's just my marketing for my rent-to-rent business. That's what I do each month. The second one is the furnishing mind map. So I speak to some people and they come to me and they say, oh, well, with each rent-to-rent I do this and I say, so what do you do each time? Oh, it's different each time. For me, that boggles my mind. The amount of energy it takes to think each time about what microwave should I get? What kettle should I get? What pillow should I get? You know, what cushions, what should I get? It's not something I want to do. So I've just created a mind map. This is exactly where we get everything from. It's the same each time. These are the costs, couple of pictures on there, and that's it. It's just done. It's so simple.
Okay.
And then finally is the deal sourcing one. So again, you know, everything is on there in terms of deal sourcing, how to actually go out and source deals. There's so many different strategies on there. There's a little bit of psychology in there as well, just how to actually source some of the deals. So, you know, these are just a few of my mind maps as well.
Okay. Right. Okay. Neil, we're gonna, like I said, we're doing a special offer for tonight for those that want to come on the course, and the reason why it's a good time, more so now than ever, to take action is because we're at the end, near enough at the end of 2014. And if you want to make 2015 your year, what better way to start the year than a load of new education and knowledge for you to go and actually implement in your area? So if you book on tonight, we're going to allow you to bring a business partner and a partner with you for free. So for 395, that's 2 spaces for you and your business partner. But more importantly, I'm also going to give you a USB with all my documents on, which I normally sell for 197. And here's some of the documents that you're going to get on it. I call it the key to success. So including that, we're going to be putting in there the management agreements. We're going to be putting in there all the tenancy agreements that I use, gas safety documents, guarantor documents, some spreadsheets that I use on a day-to-day basis that keep me generating a 100% rent collection record. And like I said, for action takers and just for tonight, remember after tonight, it is going to go back to 395 per person. And we have only got 10 spaces available. So if you book and you pay for the course tonight, you can bring your business partner or your marital partner for free. We can't allow you to bring just a person off the street for free.
Yeah,
So,
and that is when we say 10 places, that means 5 places. It doesn't mean 10 people, 20 people. It means 5 people.
okay. So in order to do that, yes, you're going to get 2 for the price of 1. And the best way of doing that and the best way of booking it is by going onto my website right now, which is arshellahi.com. Then you look on the events tab and you see the rent to rent, or look for Neil's face. And you can, all you have to do is follow the link there. Now, I appreciate that not everyone can get to Wolverhampton. And a few people have said that they want to come on the course, but unfortunately they can't do it. So more importantly, we've done something called a live streaming session, which means that we're going to set up cameras in our office and you can live stream. Well, we're going to be live streaming the course from my office where you can watch it from the comfort in your home, just as you're doing right now, tonight. But more importantly, you're going to be seeing us in person. And we're going to be sending you all the documents prior to the webinar, prior to the live streaming session, so that you can learn from the comfort of your own home, but you're still getting exactly the same amount of content as if you're in the room. Again, that is $395 per person, and you can book that again by going to the website, which is arshellahi.com/events. Now, Neil, tell me about this.
Right. So Arsh has been asking me for I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks now, I'm guessing, if I'll run a sales course, because that is my background. I'm a sales trainer, and it's the one thing I'd say if you think I'm good at other stuff, sales, um, I'm on another level. You know, um, of all the landlords I speak to, I'd say 80%. If I sit down with a landlord, that's for me and for people I'm coaching. I'd say 80%, maybe 70% at lowest, will go with a deal. So Arch has asked me, look, we put on a 1 day sales and marketing course and just show everyone this 12-step system that I've taught to the renewable market, the cosmetics industry, all sorts of different industries, because it's so versatile that you can just adopt it to anything. So I've spent a little bit of time today actually just tweaking it a bit, changing it to rent, because for me, I've never had to write it down. It's in my head. But to actually teach it, I've put it down into steps so that you can actually learn this. So I was just asked, if we just put one on, cover the costs, see what people think, see how valuable it is, will I do it? And I said, yeah, let's put it together. So what Arsh has put together as a price, he said anybody that wants to do it, do the sales course, do the marketing, really learn how to get landlords saying yes to you, how to build those relationships. Just £195 more, and you can attend a full day. That's one full day for just £195 of sales and advanced marketing training. So that's what we put together, really.
Okay, brilliant. And just so that you know, is that if you are interested in that, that will be held on the following day, Sunday, the 30th of November. Again in Wolverhampton. So if you are coming on Saturday 29th, more than welcome to stay over in sunny Wolverhampton. Believe me, it's got a lot of places to offer. And then we can take you through that on the Sunday. And if that's of interest, do you want to talk us about
Yeah.
what this is, Neil?
Yeah. So this is my sort of steps analogy that I always use. And it's the same with any process. Anytime you're going into let's say a sales process, just keep it simple. It's the same every time. People often tell me that they lost out on a deal because they went in and they told the landlord the price and the landlord said no. And that was it. End of story. It was dead. And I think, why would you go in and say the price at step 1 when in my head that's step 9, step 10 to go in and give the landlord the price? So there's an actual process, a psychological process that you go through to get an agreement with someone. So it's like walking up the steps. You'd never start on step 1, jump to 7, and jump back to 3, then go up to 6 to walk up the stairs. It makes no sense. And it's the same in sales and relationships and all this as well. You start off with your basic stuff where you're planning your preparation, you're going into your icebreaker, you're going into your rapport, you're going into the benefits with the landlords and stacking up the benefits, telling them a little bit about yourself. You're doing your survey of the property. You're going through you're going through everything, all these different steps, step. And then when you get right down the actual process, then you're going into the prices. You're doing market comparisons. You're showing them calculations. You're doing all that. There is a process to it. You don't just walk in and here's the price, Mr. Landlord. Let's have a quick look at your property. Okay, great. Yeah, let's. It doesn't work like that. There's a psychological process. You get in the yes, and by the time you get to the end, you've got an agreement.
Okay, brilliant. Like I say, if you want to take advantage of both, and you can book it for £590 for the 2 days. Someone's just asked, can we do this from home as well? I will extend that so that we will do that as a live streaming course. However, in order for the second day to run, we must make sure that we've got in excess of 10 people for it to be viable to run to cover our cost. If that's of interest, you can email me either via Facebook, or if you look on the bottom right hand corner, you've got my email address, arsh.elahi@rent-me-now.co.uk, and I can send you an invoice tonight. More importantly, a couple of people saying I can't do the course on the 29th. One person says that he's got his friend's wedding. Hopefully that
good.
goes very well for you. So we're actually doing a course on the 31st of January, which is Saturday, 31st of Jan, last day of January in 2015. And we're going to do it so that if you want to do the course in January and you want to take advantage of the discount where you get two people for the price of one, where you can bring a business partner or a marital partner for free, if you pay for it tonight and in the special comments box put, unfortunately, can't make November, but I would love to do January, we'll make sure that we reserve your seat for Jan. One person has just put that when they've gone on the website, they can't see the discount. The price for the course is $395. If you pay for the one person, we're going to allow you to bring the second person for free. There's no discount code that you need to put in there. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give you all our contact details. So you've got my personal website address there, you've got my letting agency there, as well as my personal mobile number. And you can find both me and Neil on Facebook and Twitter. But we're hopefully, I think we've still got a few minutes left. Are you still okay for a few minutes, Neil?
Yeah, I was just about to say, from Thursday night, I sort of extend an offer. Anybody wants to give me a call, or have a call with me for 5 minutes. Maybe you've got a unique question or something relates to you doing the course. Maybe there's all sorts of things going on in each person's life that is unique to you. If you want to give me a call, you want to ask me any questions, or maybe you've got one other question that's just stopping you from booking on the course. If you just go onto Facebook and search for Neil Ward, I'm friends with Arsh anyway, just send me a private message on there. And if you want to have a call with me, I'll send you my private mobile number, and then we can have a quick chat this week. And Arsh, there was one other question. It was from those two people that did the other rent-to-rent course, and they were asking if we would do a discount for them to come on this. I was thinking, maybe £100 or something if someone's already done a rent-to-rent course. What were your thoughts on that?
You're feeling generous tonight, Neil. I'll give you that.
I mean, that's not bringing a business partner or guest. It's just because this is what me and Arsh are about. There's so many people that have done other courses and they haven't got any deals. They're sat there, they're feeling like they've done something wrong, when it might not be that. It might just be that the training wasn't right for you. I never slate anybody else's training. Everybody's good at what they do, but sometimes other people's styles just won't fit your style. You need to work with someone that you connect with. And again, people might not connect with me or my style, but if you really feel that you would like to learn from me, you've already done a training, then just drop us a message, and I'm sure we can take care of you.
Okay. Sorry, last few questions. A few people saying that how much is live streaming course on sales and marketing on the Sunday? The price for the courses are as they are, regardless whether you attend the course in person or whether you do live streaming, because you still get the same level of content. So if you're doing just the rent-to-rent day, the rent-to-rent day is $395 and not $195, as one person seems to think it is. And it's $395 for the one day, and if you book the second day at the same time, it is, I even get confused there, $5 for the 2 days, and the date for the sales day is Sunday the 30th of November. By all means, like I say, that isn't on the website because that's only something that me and Neil only discussed earlier this afternoon. If you want to know more about the sales and the training day, by all means, you can send me an email. My email address is at the bottom right-hand corner of the slides, and I will send you an invoice. If you've already paid for the day one and you want to just pay for the additional day two, I'll send you an invoice for the additional amount. Don't worry about that.
I mean, Arsh, just from the comments you get in, what are people's viewpoints on the sales and marketing day? Is it something people are keen on, or are people more sort of interested in doing the rent-to-rent course? I mean, do they want both? Because to me, they go hand in hand. But I mean, it's really, I'll put it on if the interest is there. If the interest isn't there, I wouldn't go out my way to put it on. So
So far, the interest seems to be there. Like
okay,
I say, some people are saying, "Are we doing the sales day in January?" Yes, on the basis of the strength that this goes well, we will be doing it in January, and the rent to rent day will be the Saturday 31st. And if it goes well in November, we'll then be holding it on the 1st of February. So we will be doing that as well.
yeah. And with the sales training, guys, it's not going to be, just sit there and listen and you hear the sales and that's it. You're actually going to go into breakout groups. So you'll really get into this and you'll be practicing with each other. You'll be going through the processes. You'll be going through the different steps until it's cemented in your head. Because this isn't like other things. This is relationship building. This is communication. You can't just learn communication from a book or from a script. It's got to be experiential. So that's a lot of what we're going to do on that day as well.
Okay, brilliant. Just to confirm that, mate, just to confirm, and sorry, I don't want to hit too much on this point. So if we're doing the rent to rent course on the 29th of November. That is 395 just for the rent to rent course. On the 30th of November, which is a Sunday, we'll be doing the sales and the marketing course. If you want to do both days, it's 590 for the both days. We can also do the live streaming for one day for 395 or for both days for 590. And again, we'll be replicating this in January on the 31st of Jan and the 1st of February. Um, and just to finish off, Hilary has asked if we do the home course, what other information do we get? You get all information as if you were sitting in the course with us in the room, which means that you'll get the slides, you'll get all the documents, and if you can ask questions as you've been doing this evening, which you'll be responding to immediately. You also potentially get the audio clip. You won't get the visual clip, you'll get the audio clip of what's happened during the day so that you can play it back to yourself as well. Um, so yeah, hopefully on that basis, we'd like to think that we've got everything on there. Go onto the website, book onto it. If you want the weekend package, if you want to send me an email, I'll get you the invoice raised this evening or first thing in the morning, and we hope to see you on one of our training courses very soon. Um,
Yeah, we're down to the last two seats now, so that's good.
And yeah, like I say, Neil, it is going very quickly. And if there is anything else that you want to know, by all means, you've got my contact details there. You've got my mobile number. Feel free to get in contact with us. Let's have a chat, and hopefully, let's get you moving on. One thing that I want to just point out to you, one reason why I do the courses along with Neil, I run a number of courses. Some of you, I know that people like Hillary and I'm just looking. Peter's been on a few of my courses. I'd like I like the fact no that I meet new people, and with the people that come on my courses, hopefully I've built a bit of a rapport, and we've also got online community, so that education doesn't just stop on the course. You then get invited to an online community where we continuously keep learning, keep putting out new ideas, asking for your feedback, as well as you telling us what you've done, how you've got on, and we keep going. Finally, if you've got deals that you think are great BMV deals, but you can't fund them, how about if I try and fund them for you? Or how about if we try and flip them? And the reason why I've mentioned this completely off the cuff is that this week alone, 3 people who have been on my previous courses have found BMV deals and we've literally flipped them. So they've introduced it to me. I've put it out to my list of trusted investors, and we've sold them the same day. And this week alone, we've generated a profit of £65,000. So if you've got deals, you don't know what to do with them, or you don't know how to structure them, put them forward to me. Let me see how I can work my magic on them, and let's see how we can make some money together. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to wish you well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it's late on a Sunday evening, but hopefully that's got you excited so that when you're going to work tomorrow, you're thinking, well, actually, I'm potentially got a new strategy. but more importantly, for 2015, I'm going to make some real money. Does that sound good? If that's good, I want to help you as well as Neil does. On that note, ladies and
Definitely.
gentlemen, I'd like to thank you very much for your time. Neil, thank you very much for your time. And we'll be speaking with you very soon. Any problems, feel free to get in contact with me.
Yeah,
Take,
thanks, guys. Pleasure.
okay, take care. Good evening, and we will be